Welcome to the United Colors of Design podcast, here to open a deeper conversation about color and how it impacts your designs, art forms, mood, and journey on this planet. And now, here is your host, Amy Barroso.
Hello. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Today, I'm really excited to have Sanal Raje on the show. She is a professional artist and she has a huge, amazing story to tell. And I don't want to tell it all in the first episode, but I do want her to touch on some stuff. Welcome, Sanal.
Hi, Amy. I thank you so much for having me here. It's amazing. Yeah, I'm looking forward to what we are going to chat about.
Yes, it's going to be super fun. So I'm just going to read Sanal's bio so that you can, so I don't mess it up and you have the full story about her.
Okay.
She is a professional artist based in Guelph, Canada. She is actively involved in the local arts associations as well as global ventures that promote the arts. She is a member of the Canadian delegation that is invited to participate in the annual show of the Société Nationale des Beaux-Arts, established 1862, at the Louvre in Paris, and has won awards for her paintings. Woo! That is a wicked paragraph right there. Her art business, Blue Amber Arts, incorporates spiritual energy of colors to elevate the products to an experience and a unique memory. She conducts workshops and paint parties to promote expressive art and reduce stress in the community to bring joy and creation. Blue Amber has jewelry and attire and is inspired by ancient designs, rituals, and techniques which convert everyday use products into contemporary fashion accessories and tools for holistic practices. Wow. And you're a cook. So, we can get into the cook stuff later, but I'm really interested to know about the Société Nationale des Beaux-Arts, because this is how you get out internationally, yes?
Yes. So, Amy, what happened was I have been an artist like all my life. Ever since I remember, I had a paint box near me or crayon in my hand. So I've been lucky, and I feel I've really been blessed that I could work on my passion and have the support of my family, friends. Even I'm originally from India, and I moved to Canada 15 years back, and this has been a really very joyful journey for me, the art journey in Canada. And the way that I got this kind of exposure, I was as a new immigrant, I was most focused on my job as a graphic designer and doing some art, selling artwork. But then I really, when I started into abstract art, that was when I really saw what art was all about. Because even at that time, some circumstances forced me to it led me away from my realistic painting to more of an abstract work. And that is when I knew the true purpose of my art. It was the color energy I was accessing through my art. I mean, there's a energy body in our system, right? And we all need to balance that energy.
Yes.
And the way the artists do is through color.
Yes.
And that was what I was doing from my abstract art. I didn't know it had any value. But when the curators saw my art, they were excited. They wanted to show their work in the gallery. So I left my comfort zone in Guelph. I'm from a small town here in Guelph. I went to a gallery in Toronto. And then it led to one thing, and one thing led to the other. I got a call from the gallery in New York, the Agora Gallery, and it was in the States.
Sorry, you got a call from what?
Manhattan.
Okay.
The Agora Gallery in New York in Manhattan.
Okay.
So I got a call from that gallery to show my work, and then there are curators on the net that they scout for artists, right? They see what is going on in the art world.
Yes.
And then I got an invitation from a society called the FASEC International. It's based in Paris, and they are connected to the show at the Louvre. it's the annual show of the Society of Fine Arts. It's the Société Nationale des Beaux-Arts.
Yeah.
So they have their annual exhibition, and this has been going on since 1830, the year that you said, right? It was established in 1800. And they have delegations from all over the world. And I got invited to be part of a delegation from Canada. And it's a juried process. Like, I had to submit my art. It was juried by their the board of directors at that association. And then I got selected. I got to show my work. I showed my work for 2 years there in 2017 and 19. And I also had the good fortune of receiving an award. And that award is from the Arts and Letters Society of Paris.
Wow.
That is a very established society as well. So I've been lucky in being recognized and awarded for my art. So I would like, if there are any artists watching this show, I would suggest just get out of your comfort zone. Just believe in your art. Like, it was a problem for me. I didn't know if my art, what value it had, like how it would affect people. But when you are painting from your heart, that is the only way to do any kind of art. Like, not just do something which is in trend or something which everyone else is doing, but just paint from your heart. What is your calling? What is your mission? And that will lead you to places. I can assure you that.
Wow.
So this was my process of getting known internationally. And now, after that, was the question, like, after Louvre, what, right? Where do you go from there?
I know, that's pretty high.
Yeah, I know. So then I had now I made it my mission to, I want my art to touch as many people as I can. So I want my art to be affordable, accessible. So I have had the concept of making my art accessible through wearable attire, jewelry, so people can have that in their hands for their everyday use.
So
they don't have to buy
you had scarves, yeah? Scarves?
Yes, I had scarves, yeah. I can show you this one here. This one here.
Nice. This is something, I think people who do painting and art, this is something new where we have printing available to be able to put it on things like that.
Yeah. So this was the painting that was shown at the Louvre, actually.
Ooh.
So, yeah. And it's on silk, so it's a very beautiful piece of material, like the silk, and then the artwork on that. Yeah. And then I do this kind of mala jewelry that I have.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, so I got interested in this jewelry. Like, for an artist, it's a medium, right? Like, it doesn't have to be just paint. Yeah. It can be jewelry making, it can be craft, it can be anything. So this is what I'm doing. Like, I try to explore with different mediums for my art. Yeah.
Yes, we have another woman on that's writing. Her name is Elvira Hopper, and she is questioning whether or not you are using all of your creative outlets equally, or expressing yourself in all of your creative outlets. So you have painting, and then you are expressing yourself in jewelry and attire and cooking and all of these different ways. Because I think when you are creative, you're not just creative in this little space. Like, it needs to come out.
Exactly. Yeah. It is like you are a creative. Like, it's not that from 9 a.m. to 5 a.m. you create and then you just turn off your creativity. Like, when you go after 5, if you go in the kitchen to make you are creating a meal. You're not just cooking dinner. That's what I like to say. I'm creating a meal. Yeah. And then in this COVID situation, there are these virtual paint party companies, right? And they decided to expand their offerings. I was part of the Yaymaker company where I taught like paint nights.
Yeah.
And they have other offerings. So they are like they said, teach anything that you can. They have so many offerings now. They have crafts and they have like meditations. They have cooking. So I said, I try my hand at cooking, right? I cook like a meal for my family. I always like to plate it nicely on the table.
Yes.
So I tried my hand at that, and it is really picking up now. Yeah. So that is my in the culinary arts, I can say.
Yeah, you can do so many different things. And yes, being inside and so many offerings online, people are craving to
That's
bust
great.
away from Netflix. Like we're sick of
Okay.
watching Netflix. Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes, yes.
being able to go online and take a class with you, or to meditate, or to do a dance class or an exercise class,
Yeah,
like just being able to express yourself in that way. So
yeah,
so now this month, this issue, we're working on the color black,
yes.
and how that is affecting, how that color affects people or affects people.
Yes,
And
yeah,
with the magazine, we were talking about how it is, you need to go sit in this dark place in, you know, at different times in your life. You're going up and down, up and down.
yes,
And the great thing is that there's always these little sparkles of light that you
yes.
have to follow out of the darkness. And so I
Oh,
wanted to get your take on black.
mhm.
Like, what does it mean to you to work with black?
Amy, I can say that I like that your word, like take that sparkle out of the dark. And that's exactly what I like when I was invited to write for at the article Black.
Mm-hmm.
Because my process has been that I think in color. Like even when I do my abstract paintings, the only thing I know that is what colors I'm going to use and how I have a kind of sense of how it is going to flow on the canvas. So I'm not thinking of black or white, it's just color and color and color.
Yes.
So when it was for black, but this, I think these times, these challenging times as we are calling them, in my personal life, there was a time when I had to take a pause because of some health issues.
Mm-hmm.
So I was forced to take a pause and stop everything that I was doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that led me, like, at first I was stressed out and I said, what's happening in the world and that kind of thing. But then when you're creative, like your mind starts to have some creative ideas. As you said, that there are sparkles of light coming through.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, I need to focus on those sparks. And those sparks can be color, it can be silver, white. So my process in my earlier art has always been to work in color, and then when I think it's finished, I add black and white as like the shadows and highlights, right?
Yes. Yes.
I had a series called Shadows and Substance, where I had a shadow and some highlights there.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a very enlightening series for me. It showed me that there has to be some shadow in order to see the light.
Yes.
That the shadow is there only because there's a source of light, right?
Yes. Yes.
So then when I was thinking about black, I said it working in black as a color, it was a kind of a new concept for me.
Mm-hmm.
But when in my personal life, I was going through that phase, or not a dark phase, but a kind of reflective phase. Mm-hmm. And I said, I need to have my own sparks there. And then I developed a process, like when I was creating for these artworks, like when I was like invited to write for the magazine, that somehow I came out of that block that I had, that artist block or whatever I was going through. I said, I need to create. That is what I'm living for.
Wow.
So then I started with a process which is called fluid art. I'm very interested in that. I mostly do the fluid art now. So that's mostly like pouring paint on the canvas and letting it is a controlled process, not just you are not in control of that process.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a process where I'm in control, but I let the paint take over at some time.
Yeah.
And when I was working with black, as I told you, I was fascinated by that process, how it happened on the canvas. And I didn't need a big canvas. Like I was used to work on big canvases and like just paint all over and just flinging around. But on this small canvas, I was like mesmerized to see what was happening on the canvas. I put some color.
I saw the video that you did as you were doing it, right? And I loved it. You can just get lost in where it's going to go. And
can I show you that what I was doing there? That just turned out pure black. You can see just some colors there.
Yeah.
There is some shimmer of color.
Yes.
But then the black just took over, like I have explained in my article. And then I did these to go with it. So these have more of the blue and gold. So I tried to manipulate the colors after that. I said, I need to have my own say in that black. I was not going to accept like black taking over everything. I need
so awesome.
So I needed to bring the color back in the black.
Yes.
So I took control of the paintings, and then this series, I'm doing this series now, which show that how you can you need to keep saying something. As a creative, you need to find your voice, even in like the darkness, in the light. You need to find your voice, and you will have a voice to say something. That has been my process for creating this series here.
Wow.
Yeah. Mhm.
Well, I'm so excited that just even this conversation inspired you to create a series. Like I've never seen that happen before. So I think that is really neat. I am honored that you were able to do all that, and I'm hoping that we can get them all into the magazine. I'm gonna lay it out soon, so I'll be trying to see how we can do that. But I'm fascinated by this conversation, and I want to leave some more for others. So for other podcasts. So I think, what is your openness to anyone who's listening to this, and they may have questions about, how do you enter the international art scene, or how do I become more visible, or what associations can I join? Are you open to in some way communicating with other artists?
Oh yes, of course. I would love to do that.
Yeah.
Because as I said, I've made it my mission now to help other people, other artists, my fellow artists, to say, like, just because being an artist and making that decision to have that as a profession, it's a very courageous step.
Yes.
Because there are so many, like, people say you can't like live as an artist, you have to have a real job and everything, right? So, but once that you have the courage to take that decision, just go all out.
Yeah.
There are so many opportunities out there, and you can explore over the internet, and just try to have as many shows as you can in the society outside of your comfort zone. Like, try to go to bigger cities, and then like, I was fortunate to get noticed and being invited. But there are things you can do, like join some art camps or art residencies where you can meet with people. Like, networking is very important. I found that. So, and even like, you don't have to be constricted within your country. Just try to. Europe is of course, like everyone knows, Europe is where the art. You really need to go to Europe if you're an artist and see what's going on there. So I was fortunate to go to an art camp in Hungary where I met other artists, and then just one thing leads to the other. That has been my experience.
Yeah.
But you can. That's what I would suggest. Join some art camp residencies or networking groups. And then there are call for entries on the internet where you can submit your artwork.
Oh, okay. A call for entry.
Call for entries. There's a association. I am associated with the Vivid Arts Network in Italy. They have a call for entries for artists, and they have exhibitions in like Toronto and Milan, New York. So they have their shows all over and you can join any of those if you are accepted.
Mm-hmm.
And there is this the Paris Association that is FASEC International. They also have like artists from Canada which they take to the Louvre. So that I don't know if they have a call for entry. I think they have it's by invitation.
Okay.
But you can explore these associations. There are in the States, you can have some galleries. We have call for artists. So just keep exploring and keep submitting your art. Just show your art. That's the only thing we need to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to put the information to connect with you, your website, and contact information at the end of this this video, and so people can reach out to you. Plus, you're going to be in the magazine, so there'll be contact information there as well. And yeah, I think that's amazing advice that you've given to young artists or to artists who've been doing it for years, but have just sort of kept it in their living room or in their little studio.
Because we artists are not really good at marketing. We need someone to really push us. And I've been like fortunate to have a supportive family, but I've been lucky. But there is you still need to do a lot of work over that. Like explore opportunities, go out of your comfort zone, and just get your work out there. That's it.
Yeah. Well, what also I'm excited about is the fact that the magazine has columns. People are writing stories, and your story came out more like a beautiful poem about the creation of your series. So this is an interesting way to express yourself in the written word and also in this
artistic. It just happened. I was having a writer's block kind of thing for a lot. I was not sure how I would express myself. Once I started writing, it was like the poetry, like the sentences, short sentences, paragraph.
I love it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love it. Okay, so I will let you go. We have so much more to talk about in our next podcast. So for now, we'll just let our artists absorb what you just said, and we'll give them a way to connect with you. And art mentorship, that's where we're at now when you've been doing things for a long time. Now you get to help and give back to people. So I hope this was helpful.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Amy. It's like, I can't thank you enough for this opportunity that you have given me.
Oh, well, I can't thank you enough for joining, because it's just amazing to have you. Your creativity is inspirational for me as well. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you everyone for listening, and be sure to stay tuned for the contact information to reach Sanal at the end of this episode. Have a great day.
Thank you for listening to the United Colors of Design podcast, connecting all designers and creatives through our shared love of color, with your host, Amy Barroso. For more details on anything you've heard on today's show, make sure to visit us online at unitedcolorsofdesignmag.com. Thanks again for listening.